Grady A.
Hey, run that thing up.
Nah, but listen to me. The thing is if he shows out in the finals and they still lose, he can still be up there.
Frenchman up there talking his language. We need to get this stop. No, it's you, and I still.
Grady A.
In the East, Philly zero.
Yeah, can you get to stick around? Can you beat it to
Hey, run that thing up.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Grade A podcast. I'm your host, Musa. I got my guy Mike with me. How you doing today, Mike?
Doing good. How about you?
Man, I'm doing great. We got March Madness here. We have a few upsets on both the men's and women's brackets, closer to NBA season playoffs. So it's a lot we could talk about, man. We're getting closer to meaningful basketball for most people in the media's eyes, we'll say. But we got a lot to talk about. We're going to give our predictions on who we have coming out the men and women's March Madness tournament and a sleeper team if we have one. We're also going to give you guys our all-NBA teams and defensive teams. We're going to kind of discuss, me and Mike and whoever else gets on throughout the show, who we think is going to be here on first, second, or third team, and then the same for defensive teams with first or second team. And then we're going to give a dark horse team we think can win the NBA Finals. And obviously, the heavy favorite teams will be excluded from this conversation, which I will explain further once we get to that topic. And then to end the show off, we're going to talk about which contender in the NBA has the biggest flaws we think they have going into the postseason. So if you're watching, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on the show. And we appreciate you guys getting us to 200 subs. Let's get another 200 subs on the way as well. So, Mike, I think we're going to just jump right into it. We're going to start off with the All-NBA list. So I'm going to share my screen now. Oh, 1 second.
All right, good.
So we're going to just basically kind of you have a conversation on who we think is going to be first and second team. And since it's us two, if anyone in the chat, in the comments was watching, you could be the tiebreaker. And of course, once everyone else gets onto the show, we kind of have more dialogue to the conversation. So here's the list I made. Mike, as you see my name today, you know who my GOAT is. We had the rest of the show yesterday, but yeah, let's get right into it. So Mike, I'll let you go first and let everyone know who you have on your first team All-NBA list.
All right. Well, obviously, I think this is going to be a pretty consensus for the most part, at least for four guys. So first off, we'll go with Jokic.
Okay, you got Jokic.
Yep.
We
SGA.
can agree on that. Let me
Yeah.
go and type that in. Yep,
SGA, obviously.
I agree.
Tatum. Giannis. And then my fifth spot, as I said, I know we talked earlier before we went on, we might have a different stance on this, but I got Donovan Mitchell. 5.
Why do you have Donovan at the fifth spot?
Just because you look at what the Cavs have done this year, the record, the standings, I find it very hard to believe that these guys are going to not include a Cavalier on that first team, personally. Because when you look and who could go to the next spot, I like Karl Anthony Towns. I just don't think defensively that's a guy you can really put up there. And the Knicks, they're struggling bad. I know the NBA gave them a terrible schedule. They had like what the Maple Leafs were going through in the NHL. They have a big road trip, one home game, another road trip, home game, another road trip, and then on top of it, the Brunson injury. So it's a toss-up. I know you said two, Jalen Brunson maybe, but it's going to be close on him for the games. I got him on my second team, but I think if anyone, it would probably be Cat, but I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell.
So I don't disagree with the points you made, but also I know we talked about this in previous episodes, right? When we're looking at all NBA, you're choosing the best fit team players essentially, right? That had the best fit team players based on that particular season. So this is more of an individual award. I feel like they go into the team success right at the very end to kind of caveat it or to be the tiebreaker. So I did agree with you at first with Mitchell because obviously they have the second best record in the league. They have dropped, I think, 4 or 5 in a row right now, which makes it a little interesting for Boston if they wanted to try to catch up and get the first seed because I think they're like 5.5 games out or 6 games out. I don't think they will, but just a little interesting if they cared.
They could. Boston has, I believe it's one of, if not the easiest schedules the rest of the year.
Yeah, and the Knicks have one of the toughest schedules to end the year, if not the toughest, and they can easily go from 3rd to possibly 6th. So for me, what I took into account is who was having a better individual season. And yes, we know Cleveland has a stacked roster, but I wish Lou was here because Lou, he kind of started this off a little bit, but my last spot, I actually gave it to Cade Cunningham over Donovan Mitchell. The reason being is one, he's top 10 in scoring. He's top 3 in assists. He's leading this Pistons team to almost a 40-win season, which they're going to most likely win 40 games. They're only a game behind from 40. Considering that they'd already doubled the amount of wins they had last season. He's doing this also without arguably his second best offensive player in Jaden Ivey. And he's having one of the best seasons in the league, and his efficiency is really high. Now, we know the turnovers is high because he has a high usage. But this is just the scratching the surface of what you can see from Cade when you finally give him proper spacing, which he didn't have last season. And also his rookie year, he ended it off early because of the injury. So because of that, and then I look at Donovan Mitchell, I just don't believe that Donovan's having a better individual season than Cade. And that could be despite of the team being a lot better compared to Detroit's team, obviously. So he doesn't have to do as much. But because of that, I gave my nod to Cade. And I think Cade's having a better season than Brunson and Cat. I think it's debatable either way with Brunson or Cat. But considering the injuries, considering the play, considering the difficulty, I'm going to lean Cade with this nod. But now I'm not mad if he doesn't crack this list because, again, the second and third team, I think he's going to be All-NBA either way this year. But it's hard for me to believe that he hasn't been the second, at least the second best guard in the league or the East at least. So yeah, that's kind of my push on that. But we can move further along in the show unless you want something else you want to add for Donovan Mitchell. We can kind of get back to that final spot later.
Well, I was going to say, you could put Cade there if you want. I'm not mad. I just don't think the way the voters operate is they like to put made men on these first team NBA. And Cade Cunningham has always been a great player, but he's not a guy that you're going to see on this list every year until this year. This is his first year, so they like to have him work up the ladder. So I would love to see Cade on the first team. Just personally, I don't think the voters are going to put him there. That's the only thing. So if you want to put him at 5, I'm totally cool with that.
And also, real quick, I read a report, so I don't know how true it is yet, but it was a report that I think the next Detroit game, I forgot what team they're playing. I kind of scrolled past it, so I didn't really bookmark it. Hopefully, I'm gonna check see if I did bookmark it. But I believe that one of the next upcoming games against a marquee team in the contention has been moved to a TV scheduled game. Because one thing, Detroit don't have a lot of TV scheduled games either. To your point that you just made, Mike, which is why a lot of people don't know much of what Cade's really doing because Detroit's not getting televised enough. Like some of his best games this year, the one he hit the game winner recently against Miami, even though Miami's been struggling. The games against New York, where he's been frying New York, a lot of those games have not been televised games. And Detroit, like JB Bickerstaff said, they need more respect. And I think it's hard to get it so quickly considering how bad they were last year. But last year was last year. What they're doing this year has been special, and they can easily come out the second round based on matchups. So, but okay, I can put Cade in the first spot. I think we can both agree though. We have Donovan Mitchell at least second team.
Oh, sure.
Floor.
I just looked up Detroit's schedule too. I can't tell based off the times, but if it was to be a game, it would be the Thunder Pistons game, and believe it.
Okay, so yeah, that was the game. That was the game I thought it was. I don't know why. I thought they already played twice, but yeah, I think that was the game that was shown.
That's just looking at the times. I don't know that for sure.
No, I think you're right. I think that was the game. Again, I scrolled past it so fast, so I didn't really like bookmark. I should have. But yeah, we agree on Donovan Mitchell being on second team. So since you gave up your first team list, I'll do my second team, and we kind of go back and forth on that. So for second team, I have LeBron, because we talked right before we got off the show, right after we started. You said LeBron probably will still make the requirements. For those who are watching that's not familiar, the All-NBA teams are positionless, for one. And two, with the new CBA laws, you have to play at least a minimum of 65 games. So like a Wemby, Joel, Luka, those guys will not be on these lists because they haven't met the requirement games. So I just want to put that out there. So anyway, moving on. For my second team, I have LeBron, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards. We already mentioned Spider, Donovan Mitchell. And I have his running mate, Evan Mobley, to round off my second team.
Just to put it out there, too, LeBron has 58 games played so far, and Brunson has
12 games
61.
left. He played 50 and have 12 games left?
Yeah, 58, and then Brunson has 61. I think they got something like that, depending on the team.
They should be able to make it. So, based on my second team list and what you have presented, what is some of the differences you've noticed?
Brunson, I'm with you on. I got him on second team as well. LeBron, I have on third team personally.
Okay.
We both got Donovan Mitchell and Kane already. You had Evan Mobley on second too, also, correct?
I do.
Yep, I got that as well.
I did have him on my third team, but I was after more consideration. I was like, him and the person I'll mention once we get to third team can be interchangeable, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then you said Jaren Jackson?
No.
Okay, because I got Anthony Edwards on my second team.
I do too.
I got Cat on there.
Okay, so we agree on that. I have Ant-Man on my second team. So what we have differ is you have Cat on second team. I have Cat on third team. I moved him down. And then so basically you have Cat second team, you have LeBron on third team. I swapped them.
Yeah.
So I don't mind. If you want to put Cat here, we can put Cat here. I'm cool with that too. I feel like those two are interchangeable. I think LeBron has had a slightly better season because of the consistency. Cat has some gaps in the year, but at the same time, LeBron has missed time also, so I'm not going to fault that at all. Okay, third team. We can go pick for pick.
We already established LeBron too, so
we can put LB. We can put LBJ. Hold up. Thought I switched that. All right, let me do this real quick. No, it's not that. Put that on the screen. Let me maximize the screen. So bold. Everything else the same. All right, perfect. So we got LBJ, Jaren Jackson.
Yep, I got him as well.
I have Steph. Do you have Steph on there?
Yep, I do.
Okay. Let me see. Let me go back and look at I put KD.
Yeah, I took him off my list. I got Lillard next.
Okay. And my last spot I have, so let me put this on the side. So you have Dame, because then we can debate on who we think should go. Dame, I have KD. My last spot, I actually gave it to.
I had Sabonis for mine.
Oh, so we agree. Yeah, I put DeMontis here too. Okay.
I believe he's got 61 games played, something like that. I looked it up last
My
night.
honorable mention was Pascal and Jaylen Brown. And of course J Dub, but I don't think J Dub is going to be on this list, which I'm not
See,
mad at.
I'd even put Pascal above KD personally.
I wouldn't be mad at that, but I would slightly give KD the edge. I think KD's just been having the better season on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, it's hit or miss with both of them. They've both been really good on defense this season, and KD's been more efficient. And considering the debacle that's in Phoenix, which is to their own doing, because not like they don't have the talent, I just look at the level of difficulty. Because another name I was thinking about, which he wasn't gonna make it, but I want to give him some love. Tyrese Halliburton has been phenomenal the second half of the season. Leading into the All-Star break, post-All-Star break, he's been one of the best guards in the league. He's starting to look back into his form, and that's one of the reasons why I'm very high on him in Indiana in the East, to kind of prove that they wasn't a fluke last season. So, all right. So we got one spot left to look into for the third team. You say Dame, I say KD. I'll let you take it away. Why do you believe Dame should be in the third team spot over Kevin Durant? I'm not mad at it either. So
I think it's a real chance, like how I said with the voter thing before, with Donovan Mitchell getting it over Cade. Seeing KD's a made man already, I could definitely see them putting him on third team. But I think whether I know it translates to on the court, even though it's not necessarily that whole debacle with that team and what they have there. That's got to go for it. That's got to take a knock on him for this season, because it affects the overall team's play on the court. I know it's not just him. There's a lot of parties involved, but personally, just what Phoenix was supposed to be and what they have been and what KD's been his whole career, it's just perfectly in line. And then with Dame, Milwaukee, they started off the season terrible, and he was out a lot of those games. Once he started to come back is when Milwaukee really started to play better. So I
will also say to that point, he's been probably you could argue he's been the most consistent player on that team outside of Giannis.
Yeah, for sure. They don't have much depth over there in Milwaukee, as it appears. Looks a lot better on paper than it actually is.
I agree, because I was actually high on them getting Kevin Porter Jr. at the trade deadline. I think his skill set was going to be helpful for that team off the bench, but it seems like it's been inconsistent whether or not he's getting the minutes or not, or he's just not finding his rhythm and really gelling with the team. So far, Taurean Prince has been really good for them as a 3-and-D wing. So I'm not mad at that. KD, the reason, as I mentioned already, why I had him over Pascal, along with his defense, I think is why I gave him a slight nod over Dame. But having said that, if you missed it, I'll say it again. Offensively, averaging 25, 26, 7-4 on elite efficiency. And I'm just running this off the top of my head. I could be wrong. I can look it up, his stats. But I know it's around that, what I just mentioned. But when you include that with his ability to space the floor, his playmaking has been better. Him being able to guard the pick and roll and play drop coverage and be a weak side rim protector. Despite everything that they're going through in that organization with the team success, again, all NBA, I feel like I mentioned when we did the All-Star thing, so I'll say it again. When I look at the All-Star roster, that's more I include the team success before the individual, but then I reverse it for All NBA, because there might be someone that's averaging 36-6 on elite efficiency, but the rest of the team is just not good enough and they're losing. He's one of the better 15 players in the league, in my opinion, due to the individual statistic season. So because I take that into account, and when I look at what KD's doing as well as what Dame is doing, because I'm not poo-pooing what Dame is doing. I think Dame should be an All-NBA player. I just think KD's been better. KD's top 10 in scoring. He's averaging 27, 6, and 4. So, on 53% from the field. So, yeah, with all those represents, I will slightly lean KD. I'm actually surprised I went Mobley on second team. I would have put him on third. If I was to swap, I would probably put him on third team to put KD or Dame in. So that'll be, if I had to choose one player, that'll be the player I'll look at most. Because if he's not having an offensive statistic season like Dame and KD's having, That's because there's so many mouths to feed on Cleveland. But defensively, he's one of the best defensive players in the league this year.
So it's funny you say that, because as I talked to you before we went on about the DPOY stuff, well, even though like a lot of the fans, like I think the on-off the court thing, I know the metrics actually don't reflect it, but I think the on-off court with Mobley is a big difference for the Cavs, and a lot of the voters are not gonna put Mobley as that DPOY after Windhorse said it yesterday. I believe it was on his podcast or something. But when he does a straw poll for all the voting awards, and they're not high on him because of certain defensive metrics and that stuff. They're probably not watching as much of the games as a lot of the fans are. But I think that a factor into all NBA teams as well, not just DPOY.
Yeah, I mean, for him to be arguably the third option, most likely, because he could be the second option at some games. They run offense through him sometimes during the matchups. He's averaging 19, 9, and 3. He's top 11 in field goal percentages in the league. And also, we don't got to talk about what he's been doing on the defensive side of the ball. Being able to guard the fives, guard the four, defend the pick and roll, be a pure rim protector, also a weak side rim protector. He does it all. He's very versatile, and the offense has taken a jump. So when I say he's not the offensive player this season compared to Dame and KD is not because it's not a big difference. I mean, KD's averaging 27. He's averaging 19. So it's kind of like, and their roles are different. So I don't want people to make it seem like it's like a crazy thing to say. But we have a comment. Ice Keys, shout out to Ice Keys. Appreciate the comment.
NBA Finals.
First team NBA Finals. Let's hope he get healthy. The Lakers do have a great chance of getting to the finals, though. I don't think they will, depending on the matchups. But they have a great shot. So
I just want to ask him: Did you watch the Bucks Lakers game the other night with no Reeves, Luka, and LeBron? Saw what that team look like. I just want to see if the commenter saw that.
That's my guy Key. Appreciate the comment, but I did watch a little bit of that Lakers Bucks game. Obviously, Reeves didn't play, Luka didn't play, DFS Dorian Finney-Smith didn't play, Jared sat, LeBron was already out. So the bench, pretty much the bench players got to play. Bronny was one of the leading scorers. They always say he's the leading scorer of the team, but I think him and Dalton had 17 apiece. So. But obviously, the narrative is being pushed because of all the flock and hate that Bronny's been getting, which is disgusting in my opinion. But either way, when you judge him just on a basketball performance level, this was good reps for him. He looked really good. Obviously, they showed the highlight where he crossed up Giannis, which it was nice to see. But at the end of the day, still has a long ways to go. I believe he'll be where he needs to be somewhat, maybe by the by the end of next season. So around this time, end of February, March of next season, where he has a full training camp, off-season workouts, all this other stuff, I think he'll be kind of where he needs to be because right now he's just trying to get back into the rhythm where he would be if he was still in college. So, all in all, Bucks handle their business as they should. I was expecting the Lakers to win because obviously majority of the team was out. But it was nice to see Bronny get some meaningful minutes, him and Dalton. So that's my overall.
The thing with Bronny is he should have stayed in college for another year because his draft stock would have risen hugely. Because as you see, the offensive production between last year in college to this year in the D League is night and day. But I know LeBron knew this and the Lakers knew this. They wouldn't be able to get him probably if he stayed in college for another year. So they wanted to make sure he played with him, and they got him. So I see why they did it. But I think, as I said before, I think he'll be okay, especially defensively. The offensive numbers are coming around. But I think personally for him himself, I think he would have been better as an individual to stay in college one more year.
Yeah. Especially. And I'm going to piggyback to what you said about the college. The reason why that would have been a bad idea is when you consider the fact that this draft class is so top-heavy, to most people's eyes, that they feel like there's a lot of great players after you get rid of the main cogs in the draft. But considering the guards, If Boogie Flan comes out from Arkansas, DJ Wagner from Arkansas, if he comes out, I think he should transfer, stay one more year. I think he should stay with Calipari one more year. But just to name a few, BJ Edgecombe from Baylor, those guys. Once you get to those guys and you draft those guys, Ronnie could be like the next tier up. So that's obviously him playing well, team success, all that good stuff. So I agree with that point. Now, to play devil's advocate, him coming out, obviously, because this will be the best chance for the Lakers to get him, the father-son duo, all that good stuff. He gets to work with NBA talent and train with them, so it helps with the rhythm and things like that. So I think it was good for him either way. But Rodney seems like a person that's very locked in on what he wants to do. He also doesn't need to play basketball, considering who his father is and everything. But I'm loving what I'm seeing from him thus far. I'm not gonna be too high on him, but I'm also not gonna be too low because again, I knew the situation coming into it. I want to give him some grace and give him some time to see him develop. I just wish they'll do this more with other second-round picks who has similar potential, who has played better in college, but that's never the case considering who his father is. So.
I was gonna say, you watched John Tonje at all from Wisconsin?
Yes, he transfers over there this year. I forgot what he's from Colorado State, I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know all those guys you just mentioned. I think personally, NBA wise, he has the most potential out of the majority of these guards.
Gotcha. Okay, let's get back to this list. You say Dame, I say KD. We could just put Dame in, and we're gonna move to the defensive side of the ball. Let me get rid of Pascal and JB. All right. Now, defense, first team. I can go first this time if you like.
Yeah, sure.
I have Dyson Daniels.
Yep, I do too.
I think he's my defensive player of the year, by the way, which we'll have an episode for that. But
I would love that.
I believe he's been the best defensive player in the league this year, considering. Well, I think he deserves to win it this year. Has he been the best defensive player? Probably top 3, top 5. So we agree on Dyson Daniels. I think he's a lock for that. My next spot was Evan Mobley.
Yep, I got that as well.
I then have Draymond Green first team.
Yep, I got that as well.
I don't think people has been really paying attention and watching how great he's been on defense. He ain't what he was probably when he won it. I think it was 2014, 2015 or 2015-16 season with the epic teal suit with the shorts. But he hasn't been that because he's older now. He's not as quick on his feet, but he's still IQ-wise one of the better defensive players in the league. He can still stay in front of you, still play the guards, play the bigs, rebounds, get you out of position, play the pick and roll, drop, you name it. He does all those things still. It's just not as potent as it used to be because he's obviously older. So Draymond will get my nod for first team. The next spot I have is Triple J, Jaren Jackson.
Yep, I got him as well.
All right, caps on.
He probably would have won DPOY if he didn't get injured.
Jaren Jackson, yeah, I believe I agree with that. I actually, if we talk about injuries, then I think it would have been Wemby.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
My last spot, I actually have Amen Thompson.
I got him second team just because, as we talked about earlier before we went on, I got Lou Dort there because just with the defensive rating of OKC, I know you said Jalen Williams as well. I just think they're going to put someone there, and seeing Dort has the name, the Dortcher Chamber. He's got the name brand. People recognize him. He was higher up on the DPOY odds board before some of these guys. I find it tough that with that rated defense, they don't have a guy on first team.
That's true. I'm not mad at that. I just think I believe the team success matters too. But again, individually, I think Amen's been better than him on defense this year. Being able to go, he does everything Lou does on the perimeter. Also, is a great rim protector as well. and an elite rebounder for the guards, which also matters on defense because you can get a stop, but in order for you to finish off the play and get a stop, is you have to secure the rebound. And I think Amen's one of the best rebounding guards in the league. So he can guard 1 through 4, sometimes maybe even 5. We've seen the play against Cleveland when he was posted up on Mobley, and Mobley thought he got a free bucket, and he blocked him right up and up. So for me, I would give Amen the nod. I honestly would wish he didn't get hurt because I would have put his twin on the list too, Asar. I think Asar's a better defender than him. I think Amen's just more polished at this moment in their careers on the offensive side of the ball. But I think Asar is the better defender at this point. But obviously it's hard because he's been out the lineup. He had the blood clot situation. So that's my overall take with him. Just want to give him some love because he didn't make my list this season. So, but I think he will be on the list next year.
The only problem with the Star is he guards guys a little bit too close because he's very good at it, but he tries to just push the envelope a little too much, and he'll rack up fouls too quickly sometimes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That goes to what I was just saying with him being off the floor due to the injuries. I think when he gets more reps and he kind of polishes up the game and be more sound, I think that would kind of slowly decrease, to your point. We could go Lou Dort. I'll put some respect on him.
I was gonna say, yeah, I have no pushback with Thompson either because I know the Rockets' defense is rated pretty high as well. So
for sure, I'll let you do second team.
All right, so if we got Lou Dort there, we already established Amen Thompson, so we can definitely put him up there.
I know we're gonna have one pushback because there's one player that you didn't have that I have on my team.
Toumani Camara. Got him from Portland. Jalen Williams from OKC.
Yep, give me 1 second. So Toumani, which people been sleeping on him because obviously he's on Portland, but yes. Toumani, you said J-Dub, right?
Yep.
I agree. Rudy Gobert was the next one?
Yep, I got Rudy. Yep. I actually had him in the last spot personally because I had a guy over him, but don't matter. He's still on the second team.
It's positionless anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to hate that because Rudy's still one of the best rim protectors in the league. So.
And then I got Ivica Zubac from the Clippers.
So I'm not mad at Zoo. I actually swapped him out, and I put Derek White on the list. I think Derek White is still one of the elite elite perimeter defenders in this league. He's one of the best, if not the best, rim protector at the guard position. So I was going to give Derek White this nod. However, I can concede to Zubac. I think Zubac's one of the best rim protectors in the league this year. And I just mentioned it before with Amen. In order to finish off the defensive play, you must rebound the ball. And Zubac has been one of the best rebounding bigs and rebounders in general this season. So, did I spell his first name right?
Hold on. I didn't even look it up on here when I spelled it. I think it's I'll look it up online because I think it's Ivica, I think, but let me check. Hold on. It's Ivica.
Okay. My apologies. Big Zoo.
The thing that pushed me over the edge for him is he had 20 rebounds against Allen and Mobley. That's tough to do.
It wasn't even close. Like if you watch, to your point, when you watch that game, he was just dominating them on the glass. He was getting to the spots before they were. He was beating them on the box out, which is rare because in this generation, this era of basketball, with how fast the pace is, you don't see too many like box outs as you did in like the 2000s, 90s, even the early 2010s. So I agree. I think Zubac has been phenomenal this season. He's the key. And you mentioned it earlier with Mobley with the on and off the court. The on and off the court for Zubac for that Clippers team is tremendously huge. Like he is what keeps everything together. When he's not on the court, they struggle a lot. So I'm not mad at Zub getting this nod. But my honorable mention again would have been Derek White. So this is the list right here. This is our official grade 8 All NBA list. Also, have some honorable mention names. we'll probably discuss this another time in the show once we get the rest of the crew here and they share their thoughts on their list and who should be where, et cetera, et cetera. But this is the list right here, man. If you're watching, leave a comment down below. Who would you swap out? Who should be on this list? Who shouldn't be on our list? And we appreciate you for the comments. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for this. And now we are going to jump right into the next topic. So this won't take much time. We have some games already going on currently. March Madness. You see the title. You seen the cover art. Mike, I'm going to ask you first, and then I'll give my thoughts. Who do you have winning both the men and women's national championship? And, of course, who, outside of those two teams, who will be a sleeper team from each side that you think has a good chance to win it all?
So for the men's, I'll start off. I got Florida. I've had them for probably about, I'd say about a month and a half now. I think they're clear-cut the best team in the country. But last night, Norfolk State was able to hold their own after they got down 30. They actually were pretty close with them the rest of the game, so I'm curious to see how that translates. But for my sleeper teams, I know we're calling it a sleeper segment, but I actually got both of them in the Final Four. I got Michigan and BYU both. They have tough games today with BYU playing Wisconsin and Michigan playing Texas A&M, but Michigan's been there, like not Michigan themselves, but Dusty May and Flag Golden. They were there with Florida Gulf Coast and gone on Cinderella runs before. So they've been there. They know how to do it. They're a great defensive team. Between Golden and Wolf, they got two. I know Golden's 7 feet. I think Wolf's damn near close to 7 feet. Just the style of ball they play is ugly. People don't like them because they don't really take the three, and they aren't the best offensive team. But they're a very high quality defensive team, just like St. John's, for example. Because St. John's plays an ugly style of basketball, but it's effective. But in BYU, just very, very good team from shooting beyond the arc and the three, and they got some good defensive players too, like Cada. So I got both of them making the Final Four. I honestly, in my championship game, I got Michigan and Florida, and I got Florida going over them. I think Florida is the UConn of this year. They're just head and shoulders above every other team.
For the women,
I'm going with UCLA. So I'm going with them because I think
the underdog, they're number one seed.
No, I'm going them for my favorite.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, no, and that's because that USC drew the bracket with UConn, and God forbid something happens to Juju Watkins, they are screwed as a team for USC. But I haven't watched too much women's college basketball this year. I did watch 2 out of the 3 UCLA USC games. I didn't watch the one that UCLA won. I watched 2 the USC one. But I think UCLA is just, other than USC, has just absolutely dominated everyone that they played in the regular season. And for the sleeper team, I got Tennessee. I think I'm surprised Tennessee got ranked as a 5 seed, and I think out of their part of the bracket, they can easily make it to the Final Four, if not the championship.
All right. Not bad picks at all, Mike. It's my go. I'll start off with the ladies first. We're still in March. Shout out to National Women's Month. So for the women, I have Notre Dame winning it all. Hannah and the crew, I think they're gonna put it all together and finish the job this year. I got them beating USC in a national championship game. So that'll be my pick. Them being able to defend, score, move the ball around, play at a high level pace. I think they'd be able to run with any top teams in the country. I'm going with Notre Dame. My sleeper for the women, I'm looking through just to make sure I don't.
I got Notre Dame in the championship game as well too, so I'm on you. I agree with you with that.
Just want to make sure. Okay, so a lot of first round games haven't been played yet. So I'm just looking through. I want to mention the team they lost. I didn't get to watch some of the women's games yesterday. So
I only watched Michigan, and who did they play yesterday? Iowa State, I think it was. That was the only women's game I watched yesterday.
Yeah, and Iowa's playing Murray State right now, and they're blowing them out. So Iowa's going to advance. UConn's also blowing out Arkansas State. So they're going to.
They're 40. I think they're a 47-point favorite. UConn, something like that.
It's like 54. It's 54 to 11. 56 to 11. Third quarter, like 3 minutes. Like that's crazy. Notre Dame hung 106 on FS Austin. So my only issue is unlike the men's bracket, with the women's bracket, typically the top seeded team is the team that's the better team. It's like there is no such thing as underdog. Well, let me not say there's no such thing. More times the lower seed typically loses more times than not. It's very rare. So because of that, my underdog team is they're ranked high, but I want to pick TCU with Haley Van Leaf. I'm saying the last name wrong. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go Louisville. I think Louisville is a sleeper team that can come out and potentially go far in this tournament. They also have to beat TCU tomorrow, and then they have to play Notre Dame or Michigan, which would be tough. But I'm gonna go with Louisville. Louisville's my sleeper team. For the men's, and I have more to say for the men's. I have Duke winning it all. I think they're gonna win. I forgot who I had them beating in the Final Four. I gotta check my bracket. But I have Duke as my team to come out and win the whole thing. My sleeper team in this would be. I'm gonna actually go Gonzaga. I'm torn between Gonzaga and Arkansas.
Zag's got a tough game today, man.
Against Houston, yeah.
So does Arkansas. St. John's.
That's what I have Duke beating. I have Duke beating St. John's. I got St. John's in the national championship game. That's what I'm saying. But the reason why I'm picking those two teams is because of their style of play. And I know Arkansas has a tough matchup. But the reason why I'm high on Arkansas, and I'll make an argument for both teams because I can't choose between the two. The reason why I'm high on Arkansas is because their ability to play defense. I think they'll be able to get stops when needed. And if you allow them to play in transition and play at pace, then you're at their mercy. And especially with Boogie Flynn coming back into the fold, I think they have a great shot. That's going to be tough because they got to play St. John's today. Gonzaga got Houston. The reason why I think Gonzaga has a chance is because of their front court. I think with the front court being as big as they are, they can kind of slow the pace down with the game and give themselves a chance to play really well in these matchups. Now, with that being said, although I have Arkansas as one of my dark horses, the reason why I don't believe they will beat St. John's is because it showed me when they played it wasn't yesterday, it was Thursday. You play against Kansas, you play them against the zone, they are going to struggle. I watched that game Thursday night, and Kansas went to Bill Self put them in the zone 2-3, which they only played less than 10 times the whole season, and Arkansas did not know what to do. I'm watching them make 2-3 passes throughout the shot clock around the perimeter. No one's running to the middle of the floor. That's the obvious way how you break a zone. You put someone in the middle, and either they get the shot if the man in the middle drops, doesn't play the shot, or you can attack. And then one of the corners can collapse, and you can throw the corner pass. None of that was happening. It took them when Calipari made the sub. I think he went with a too big lineup, and they finally went into the middle of the zone, and it worked. Who would have thought? So, Coach Cal said it himself. He took blame for that because he feels like he didn't have his team prepared to go against the zone. So I think they'll be better against the zone if St. John's was happening to go to a zone today. But that's one of the reasons they scared me because they have core offense. It seems like it's just not there. And with St. John's being older statesmen and being experienced and having Rick Pitino, who was a no-nonsense defensive-minded coach, especially when he was on the Louisville days with Russ Smith and that crew, I just believe they're going to get the job done. So with that being said, I'm probably going to lean Gonzaga as my dark horse over Arkansas. So
I was going to say, what do you think about Nembhard's little brother?
I think he's solid.
Yeah, I think he's better than him, to be honest with you.
During college?
So far, because he was a Gonzaga too.
Yeah. Okay, I can see a little bit of where you're going with that. I would disagree, but I'm not mad at that take. I don't think he was the defender that Andrew was at Gonzaga. That's the only difference. I think he's slightly better offensively, but he's not a better defender. And that's something that people forget about him now that he's in the NBA on Indiana, how good he was defensively. And they're starting to show this year how great Andrew Nembhard is as a defender on the perimeter. So that's kind of my take with his younger brother. I will say this for my bracket. I was at work, Mike, so I kind of rushed, and I didn't realize they made me make my separate bracket outside of our own grade A bracket. But I'm mad because I actually had Drake beating Missouri, and I had McNeese beating Clemson. So I was looking at Clemson like I didn't watch much of Clemson this year, but I haven't heard much of them either. So that I'm like, and McNeese been getting a lot of buzz because of their team manager for like the last month or so, and I was just rocking with it. So I was like, you know what? If anyone's gonna get an upset, I'm going with McNeese. But I was at work, I was rushing, and I ended up picking Missouri and Clemson, and then they ended up losing. So I was like, if I would have just went with my gut and not rushed it, I probably would have went perfect on the first round. I think outside of those two games, I'll double check. All my other picks was solid for the first. Oh no, I lied. Because who was it that lost? Colorado State won. I forgot who they played.
Yeah, over Memphis.
Yeah, Memphis sold the bag, and I don't know why I had faith in Penny Hardaway's teams. It feels like every time they have potential, they just underperform. So that was one of my biggest L's in the first round. So
yeah, I had Clemson going to the Elite Eight. I ain't gonna lie, I'm surprised. I'm surprised that
higher on them than I was.
Yeah, and I got Drake going to Sweet 16. I actually got him winning today as well, but we'll see. They got to keep it low scoring. If the game starts to be a high scoring game, or they get in foul trouble like they get against Missouri, it's not gonna go well for them.
Yeah, there's some games on now. I'm gonna pull up.
I think it's. I know McNeese. I know Purdue's getting was waxing McNeese. I don't know if his next game started yet.
Freaking half just started about 6 minutes ago. 37-53 Purdue. That point guard, I forgot his name. Who's in a natty game last year was like 80. He's tough. I like that point guard.
I see everyone talks about the SEC for basketball, and I agree. The better teams are the SEC, but I've been watching more college than NBA this year, and I think the Big Ten on a night with you on a night in night out basis, and even in the tournament, the like as the viewer, as a consumer of the product, watching their games are much better than watching SEC games. Personally, I think it's just the style of basketball I like to see played.
I'm not mad at that at all. Actually, I think Colorado State and Purdue can be some sleepers. I think Colorado State can beat Maryland and Florida.
Oh, I think they can beat Maryland. I think Maryland's one of the most overrated teams in college right now. Florida, I love Queen. Go that far.
I love Queen. I think he's perfect. That's why I picked Maryland to win. But I think I had them losing against Florida in the this is round in the Sweet 16. So
I had Maryland losing this round. I think I don't remember offhand though.
Yeah, we're gonna move right along with the show. We're gonna get to the next topic. The next topic is who will be a dark horse team for you to win the NBA Finals if you had to choose. And these teams, you can't choose these teams. Boston's not included. Cleveland, I'm looking at it on my phone for the list for those who's like, where am I looking at? So Boston, Cleveland, Milwaukee, OKC, Warriors, Nuggets, Lakers, and Knicks. So those are the teams you can't choose. Outside of those teams, who do you think will be a dark horse to win the finals?
So I'm gonna play along with the segment because outside of those teams, I don't really think anyone has a chance. But I've said before, I think the Hawks, if Trey turns it on and they get going, they're a team out of the East and out of the West. Probably, I guess I go with the Timberwolves. They're starting to turn it on now that Randall's back. But I really don't think either one of them have a shot, to be honest. And out of those two teams, I'll go with the Timberwolves, seeing they basically one series away from going to the finals last year. So I'll go with the Timberwolves. But I honestly, in all honesty, don't think either team has a shot.
For sure. Not bad picks. Since you picked both conferences, I will do the same. For the West, I'm going with – I was leaning towards Memphis, but I agree. I'm going with Minnesota, and the reason being I'm actually higher on Minnesota than you are. I think because of how they've been playing as of late, since Randall has come back from the injury, and they've been one of the better teams offensively since that time, and defensively they've been really, really good. I just believe with the jump that they had with Randall since he came back, Rudy's doing what Rudy needs to do. Coach Finch and that staff has figured out the offensive scheme that works best for them. Anthony Edwards is one of the most efficient three-point shooters this season. Who, when you look at the counter, he's taking almost 10 threes attempts a game. He's right behind, I believe, Steph when it comes to efficiency. For him to be taking that many threes and being as efficient as he is, knowing that he really wasn't a three-point shooter that we thought he would be, when you take that account, when you get to the playoffs, things slow down. You need that superstar that's going to take you there, bring us to the mountaintop. And they had that with Anthony Edwards. So because of that, I give them a higher chance. And because they took their tat on defense, they're going to be able to get stops. I mean, Ant plays defense. Conley's still solid defensively. You got Nickeil Alexander's one of the best POA defenders.
Jaden McDaniels, too.
I was about to mention Jaden. Yeah. Plus, Jaden has taken a leap a little bit offensively this season.
Sure.
They have the depth on the bench. Terrence Shannon Jr. can play defense, and he's a good scorer. Rob Dillingham can spark it up. So I think Nas Reed. So I just think they have the depth, the experience, and the tools all there to come out the West and get to the finals and potentially win it. They're currently the 8th seed, but with all the games left in the season, which they're 8-2 in the last 10. They can easily jump up they can even get to the 3rd seed because that from the 3 to 8 spot is only 4.5 game difference. So they can easily jump up. And if you're Minnesota, you want that 7th seed because you think you can beat Houston in the first round. And then you have to play based on what it is currently constructed, Minnesota feels like they could beat Houston first round. Then you have to play the Lakers or Golden State. And regardless of who they play, whether you have them winning or not, they match up. Oh, my camera's just blurry all of a sudden.
That happens to me all the time. Yeah.
I wasn't on my screen, so when I went back to it, I was like, I had to look at the standings real quick. But as I was saying, when you look at either Lakers or Golden State second round, regardless of how you feel with Minnesota winning or not that second round matchup, they match up really well with both of those teams. So with that, I give them a great chance. And they match up with OKC. They match up with them personnel-wise. I'm speaking straight personnel for those watching. So with all that being said, I give them a great chance to come up the West. And that would be my dark horse team if I had to choose for the West. For the East, I'm going to be a little biased. I want to say Detroit. But I just don't see them beating Boston second round. So, but either way, based on this being a fantasy segment, they'll have to come out the East regardless. I'm actually going to go Indiana. I think Indiana can do it. And the reason why is because of that offense. They play at such a high pace, a lot of teams can't keep up with. By the fourth quarter, a lot of people are gassed. They are a deep team despite some of the injuries this season. Tyrese Halliburton has been playing phenomenal. Pascal's been playing great this season, one of the better two-way wings in the league. Miles Turner's a great big who can stretch the floor and rim protect. I can rebound a little better, in my opinion, but nonetheless. Nembhard can defend. Aaron Nesmith is a great defender, and the biggest X factor, I said it all last season in the playoffs. He's healthy now. He's been playing really well. Benedict Mathurin. He's the X factor. I believe with him being there and him being able to kind of do whatever is needed for that team, what we're calling access for, I think they can get over the hump. And they're not elite defense by any stretch of the means, but they're sneaky good. They got people that can stay in front. They can rebound. They can get up and down the court. Obi Toppin is solid, but if I had to pick a dark horse, it'll be Indiana and possibly Detroit. But I'll stick with Indiana.
The thing with Indiana, as I've said before, they choked too many games away in the playoffs last year. Until proven otherwise, I can't back them. But the one thing I will say is the defense is much better this year than last year. That defense last year was terrible. Every time them and the Hawks played, it was good for 300 every game between the two teams.
Also, I know you mentioned last year for Indiana, but I think that comes with growth. And I think them having experience now, I think they'll be better closing out games. And I think with Mathurin being in the fold,
Yeah, he was injured last year.
He's definitely going to help with some of those closing moments. Also, I think them playing I would say Minnesota, Milwaukee last year helped them a lot to prep for the physicality of the playoffs. That helped tremendously. So I think them having another potential matchup with Milwaukee this time, Giannis will be there. Can stir up some things, but if they can come out of that first round matchup and they have to play a Cleveland team, I need to be well equipped to play. So. All right. Any last thoughts before we move to the last segment?
No.
Last segment is which contender has the biggest flaw? So you can choose any team. My camera keeps going in and out of blur.
It happens to me all the time. It's the auto adjust focus on, and I don't know how to turn it off.
That's the first time since I've got it, but nonetheless, Mike, which contender team has the biggest flaws? You can pick either side if you want, or just one team. Doesn't matter.
Well, I saw the list you sent out to us. The two that I picked out is, first off, I don't really consider the Bucks a contender, but I know you had them on there, and then obviously the Knicks as well. Those are the two teams I'm going to go with. You could. The Bucks, I said earlier in the show. Oops, am I back now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Am I back now?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So the Bucks, as I said earlier in the show, they looks like they have depth on paper, but they really honestly don't. Once those starting five get off the court, it's rough for them. So I don't really consider them a contender. But for a true contender, the Knicks, I think the Knicks, you see it every year with these Tibbs teams. They get ran into the ground. First round they play great. Second round they'll take you to a 7-game series and they'll come up short there. So I'm curious to see what they do this time around. If Jalen Brunson gets re-injured after he comes back, that's not good for him. Or if he's not 100%. Knicks have just been, they got dealt an awful schedule, as I said earlier too recently. They've had like 3 home games and like 12 road games. I know the Lakers are going through a similar stretch right now where they had like 6 games in 8 days. At least some of theirs were at home, but I'm a little bit wary on the Knicks. Knicks didn't even turn it up until last week of the regular season playoffs last year. We'll see if they can do it this year, but those are the two teams I got the most concern for, probably, that are labeled contenders.
Fair. That's some good points. If I have to choose my biggest contender team that has the flaws, I'm looking at I'll say Denver. Biggest flaws would be their defense. I think they just took a huge hit defensively. Not being able to sign KCP back. Christian Braun has improved tremendously on both sides of the ball, but he's still wasn't and isn't the type of defender that KCP was when it comes to POA and pick and roll. So that's kind of where I'm at defensively. I'm gonna pick Denver. If I had to choose the East team, their biggest flaw as a contender. Let's see.
The Nuggets' biggest flaw, if Jokic gets injured, that's it for them.
That too. I'm gonna go to the Knicks. I'm gonna agree with the Knicks, and I think it has to do with a lot of what you said, but also adding on with them being gassed. I think Tibbs running them to the ground the way they are. It's great that OG's back, Mitch Robinson's back. That helps a little with the defense, but they're gonna just keep attacking Cat in that pick and roll, and it's gonna wear him down. He's gonna get into foul trouble, and because you lack depth in the front court, if either one of those two with Mitchell or Cat get in foul trouble, you have to go small ball, and that may help in some cases. But considering the amount of minutes each of those guys play, which I'm sure they're not going to complain because they want to play. Well, it should be Mikal Bridges, I heard, or Josh Hart, but because of those represents, I'm gonna go with the Knicks as one of my biggest flaws for the East. Any last thoughts before we wrap up?
I know you included a West team in there, so I guess I'll throw in that one as well. Probably, to be honest with you, I'll have to go with the Rockets. If the Rockets can go back to the way that they played late December, early January, they can make it to the finals, no problem. But if they play the way they have, say, the past month and a half, I think they got some flaws. They need Fred VanVleet to be knocking down threes. They need Jalen Green to be knocking down threes. They need Sengun to make sure his head's in the game. They need to make sure all that's going for them to come out of the West.
I think their offense is going to be their biggest flaw.
Yeah.
Because defensively, I think they're going to be there. Also, defense will take a hit if players in foul trouble, things of that nature. But I agree with everything you said. And they got to get rid of those bonehead plays, turnovers at the end of the game. Sengun particularly. But I think they're going through the growing pains. Kind of like Indiana went through where they just didn't know how to close out games against Boston. I think that's what Houston's probably going through. It's just going to be on a bigger scale, tougher because they're in the West and how great the West is. So, yeah, that's going to wrap up today's show, man. If you watch, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Who you guys think has the biggest flaw as an NBA contending team on either east or west side of the conference? Also, let us know who's your dark horse for the March Madness women's tournament and the men's. Who you got winning those said tournaments. And don't forget to let us know who's your All-NBA teams, offense and defensive teams. And leave a comment down below if you believe the NBA should inherit an all-defensive third team. Since they already have a third team for offense, why not have one for defense? Considering how many defenders we have in this league. So, thank you guys. We appreciate you guys watching the show. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe. We see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Brady A.
Hey, run that thing up.